Hello TL Travelers and welcome back to the TL Travel YouTube channel. Today is an exciting day for me because we just received our DJI Mavic drone in the mail, finally shipped and is here. So I am going to unbox this baby and let you guys know what I think, first impressions, everything like that. Then we're gonna send her up in the air and then let you know how it works. So let's get this thing started. So the first thing that we have in our box is going to be the shoulder bag that we got. So we got a whole package when we purchased initially. So we have the drone, we have this shoulder bag, and then we have like a fly more package. So I'm going to do the shoulder bag first, and then we will get to the more exciting stuff after. I'm so excited purely at how small this package is. Like, I know that if this is the shoulder bag, that on size alone, it's gonna be exactly what we need for our travels, which is really exciting and such a relief. First impressions, very nice, very sleek, I'll take it, and very small, which again, big pro. So there is a small zippered pocket on the front here, and then the bag flips open like so. And then we have the top zippered pouch right here, which is going to be for the Mavic itself, of course. So very basic, very simple, but I like how it has additional accessible pockets on both the outside and on the inside. And then the strap for the shoulder strap, but truth be told, we will probably just put the Mavic inside of the bag without the strap on and pop it in whatever carrying bag or camera bag we're using that day. So the next thing that we have inside of the box is this beauty right here. And this is our Fly More combo pack for the drone. So I'm gonna open that up. So when I open up this combo box here, there is a number of things inside laid out all neat and tidy. My OCD is loving this. So we have the battery charging hub, one. We have the car charger, which if we have learned anything in our previous travels with renting vehicles and driving around to shoot footage, this car charger will come in so much handy. Never thought of it before, but if you're a traveler and you're gonna be traveling while you're droning, definitely a good thing to have. Then on either side of the box, we have the two drone batteries. So two of those. Then we have two additional extra folding propellers. And then the last thing that we have is a battery to power bank adapter, which I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm not entirely sure what that is. Not my language, not my language, not my language. I don't know what this is. We will get that one figured and get back to you on it. And then, last but very not least, we have the star of the show, the Mavic, DJI Mavic drone, our new baby. Ta-da. Oh, I'm dying, you guys. So excited. First impressions of this whole thing is just like, cannot wait to get this baby in the air and see what it can do. Because look at the size of this. Like, I need a second. So here is what we're flying with now and traveling with right now. And here's the Mavic right here. So that is the size difference in just the size and shape of the drone. And this doesn't even have its propellers on, whereas this guy, there's already like the propellers fold up into the bottom and everything, so you can just whip it out and fly it and bring it back, fold it up and put it back in its carrying case, or I mean, this would fit in my purse. This would fit in a clutch. And then size comparison on the controller, which is another huge piece of equipment. Here is the controller that we're using now. And then here is the controller for the Mavic. Look at those two together. So that is gonna make a world of difference again for the traveling aspect of things. Now, for people who aren't travel vloggers, the size thing might really not be all that relevant, and it's gonna come down to the quality of the image and how it flies and everything like that. For us as travelers, now we can fit our drone inside of our camera bag with our DSLR, our lenses and everything like that. We're one entire bag down while we're traveling. But yeah, if you're not a traveler, it's gonna be all about the quality of the flight. So let's get this thing up in the air. So that first flight was a success. There was a little bit more of an update process than we kind of realized on taking it out. So we updated a little bit at home before we took it out, and then we ended up having to do a few updates while we were out there. So definitely my first tip to you guys is going to be that you get all those updates done and over with before you sort of stray far from your home. We do have a few pros and cons that we want to go over really quickly. So I'm going to start with the pros, which are pretty much the obvious from the footage that you guys saw, hopefully anyways, is that when you're flying it, it's definitely far more stable than we're used to. Not only just like flying it around and the feeling of the controller in your hand and the joysticks under your thumb and everything, you feel more in control, I think. And then we also noticed, as a result of that, a much smoother pan. So when you're panning up for shots, panning out for shots, or even when you're just kind of flying around and like changing angles, that kind of thing, the pan is much more smooth, which is something that, you know, really adds to your shot. In addition to the smooth panning and the stable flying, one of our favorite things about it was just that it's far easier to land, and it's far easier to land on the ground. So we got very used to just catching our drone in the air from underneath it, because landing it was a little bit bumpy, you know, you couldn't really trust it all the time. So we found that the landing process for the Mavic was a lot more sort of trustworthy, and you felt more in control for that as well. Now, of course, on the flip side, if you are used to catching your drone, or for example, when we fly off of the end of boats and that kind of thing, where we do usually reach underneath and grab it just because it's easier than trying to get it back onto the boat. For catching it in your hand, it is going to be a little bit more difficult because you do have a sensor under the base of the drone that is going to think that maybe your hand is the ground, and doesn't really work quite as much. And then of course trying to grab it from the sides also doesn't work so well because you have the propellers all right there. So if you are someone who really wants to snatch it out of the air all the time, that I think would just kind of be like a matter of practice. So we're gonna work on that. Another thing that takes some getting used to is the gimbal lock or the gimbal clamp that's on this DJI. So taking it off was super easy, but getting it back on requires a little bit of jimmying around. We had a bit of a problem with it the first couple times, but we're definitely getting used to that as well. So our third con for this drone is not going to be one that applies to everybody, but the phone that we use to fly the drone and to attach to the controller is a 1+1. And even though the controller is built for Android phones, the attachment cable is actually in reverse for how our phone plugs into it. So we actually had to do kind of a little bit of a jimmying around with the controller to get our phone to fit in the right way up, instead of having our controller on one side and our phone facing the opposite way, which obviously there's just no use that way. So we did have to do a little bit of a MacGyver to get our phone to connect that way, but of course that's not going to be the case for everyone. So the one last thing that I do want to address before we conclude this video is the battery to power bank adapter that we were talking about earlier, that we weren't really sure what that is. So this is it right here. And what this actually does is this allows you to charge things like your cell phone or your controller, which are needed to fly the drone, obviously, using the battery power that is already in the drone batteries that you have. So we have 3 batteries, and say we are out and the phone dies, which we need to fly the drone, we can actually plug the phone into one of our spare batteries to then charge our phone. But aside from the negatives that I have mentioned there, overall, we really enjoyed the Mavic so far in our first day of owning it, and I know that we're going to get some amazing use out of it, especially for travel. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this review and this video. As we use it more, I'm sure I will come back and give you a more in-depth review of all of the cool features that it has. In the meantime, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We post new travel content every Thursday and Sunday, and we are going to be posting from the French Polynesian Islands every single day of December for an amazing journey. You're not going to want to miss it. And until next time, stay great, travel safe. Boom.